What's up guys, it's your boy Jerome back at it with another video. Today we're going to be talking about cinematic mode on the iPhone 13 and why you don't need it. I've done a couple camera tests now comparing the iPhone 13 to both the iPhone 11 Pro and the Sony a7C that you're looking at right now. But both times the cinematic mode footage is a little bit underwhelming and just not exactly what I want from my iPhone. And I'll tell you why. It's because they've got it capped at 1080p for cinematic mode, so it just doesn't make for a good comparison when the standard nowadays is 4K. Using that setting at 1080p, the iPhone 11 Pro even at times looks better than the iPhone 13 Pro. Okay, well, maybe it's not fair to compare 4K to 1080p video, but cinematic mode is still terrible for beginners and amateurs. And that's because it automatically films in HLG. For those that don't know what HLG is, I'll tell you right after you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. HLG, or hybrid log gamma, is a version of high dynamic range that actually retains the information of the standard dynamic range as well. So you get all of that high dynamic range goodness with all of those vibrant colors and deep blacks while still getting to retain the standard dynamic range information so you don't have to keep up with two separate files. Okay, well, what's so bad about HLG? Isn't it better to have high dynamic range? Well, yes, but let me take you to my laptop real quick where I'll show you what happens when you import this HLG footage. We're going to be using this video that I took of a pumpkin in cinematic mode. So it's got that nice background that you want and all that. But yeah, let me show you what it looks like when you import it into the computer. Okay, so now that we've got the iPhone plugged in, let's go ahead and find that clip that we wanted. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So we're gonna go ahead and import that. So far, everything looks good. You got those nice, vivid, vibrant colors. The orange looks great. It makes you really think that the HLG looks great, right? Watch what happens when I drag it into my timeline. All of a sudden, the image looks like shit. And it's because the computer is expecting the color space to be in Rec 709, but it's not. It's in HLG. So now you have to go and add this correction layer. Let me do it. It's called HDR Tools. And you add that correction layer. Still looks like garbage because you're not going HDR to Rec 709. You're going HLG to Rec 709. So now it looks a little bit better, but your image is still a little, you can tell, it's a little dull. It doesn't look vibrant like we saw in the preview up here. And that's because with HLG videos like this, it gets a very flat picture profile, meaning it's trying to preserve as much of that color information as you can. So now you have to take an extra step on top of that to adjust your exposure. Make sure that you're exposed properly. So boost your whites a little bit. Lower your blacks a little bit. And then also adjust the saturation if you want. And just from those tiny, tiny adjustments, you can see that there is a difference between the before, the flat picture profile, just with HDR tools, and now that I've adjusted the saturation and exposure a little bit. And I know ultimately I didn't adjust it that much. I didn't really do that much to it, and it does look a whole lot better now, but for a beginner or an amateur, that is a whole lot of extra work that if you didn't watch this video, you wouldn't know how to do. And you'd be left with an image just looking like absolute garbage. Oh, and is there anything else that you notice? Look at this. This is what the image looks like on my phone. Now look at it on the computer. The background isn't even blurry. The whole point of cinematic mode is to give you that nice effect of the blurry background. And it's not even there. I don't know if this is something that I'm doing wrong or something that actually needs to be fixed, but for some reason, when you import these videos directly from your iPhone into Final Cut Pro, the blurry background doesn't work. So my solution to this has been to just airdrop myself the video. When I get it in my downloads, I have to manually put it on my desktop and then import that video into Final Cut Pro. Now, the same thing happens with the whole HLG thing. You still have to do HDR tools and all that, but let me show you what it looks like now. Now, if you look at these two videos and look at the blurry background, look at it. The background is blurry. Why? Why doesn't that work when I just directly plug my phone in and import the video to Final Cut? If you don't believe me, let me show it to you side by side. So I've now put these images side by side, and I've even cut the left half of the video off so you can really just focus on the background. If we look at it in full screen, you can very quickly tell the right side is way blurrier than the left side is. Why is that? The left side of this video is the one that we directly imported from the iPhone straight into Final Cut Pro, and the right side is the one that we airdropped. And you can see, especially, look at the stem on the pumpkin. On the left side, no blurriness at all. The right side, pretty blurry. And that's because the software isn't able to tell the stem apart from the background, so it thinks it's a part of the background and it's blurring it out. But more importantly, why is cinematic mode not working when you directly import the footage from your phone into Final Cut Pro? It doesn't make sense. Now that leads me to my next point on why you don't need cinematic mode. Let's look at these two videos side by side. The one on the left is just regular iPhone video, no cinematic. And the one on the right is the cinematic mode we just looked at a couple minutes ago. If we make this full screen, you'll immediately notice, first thing, is that the video on the left looks way clearer. And that's because it's filmed in 4K, not the dumb 1080p cap that cinematic mode has on it. Second thing you notice is that the background is still decently blurry. That's what you want from cinematic mode. I would even argue that it's better than cinematic mode because you can see on the stem of the pumpkin here that it's still in focus. It's not being grouped in with the background like cinematic mode thinks it should be. And when you're taking regular iPhone videos, you have the option to turn HLG on or off. So if you really care about that high dynamic range information, you still can have it. But in cinematic mode, you don't have that option. It's gonna be there no matter what. And if you're a beginner or amateur that doesn't know how to work with that kind of footage, you're kind of out of luck. I will say though, HLG looks really, really good on the iPhone itself as long as you're not trying to edit it in any way. So if you're the kind of person that's just taking videos of your dog to send to your grandma, go for it. The HLG HDR looks great. But if you're any type of content creator that's just starting out and trying to not only learn everything about your camera, your lighting, your editing software, adding HLG to the mix is just one other thing that you don't need to worry about right now. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is cinematic mode actually worth it? Or is it just a scam to sell more iPhones? If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up down below and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!